Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
Hello, Wisconsin. Welcome to the 11 o'clock hour of As Goes Wisconsin. I am your host, Kristen Bry, along with Jane Madnair. And it's been a week. Well, I guess it's been a week since Justice Janet Protasiewicz has been sworn in. And it's been 6 days since Law Forward filed their lawsuit to change Wisconsin's legislative maps claims the map favor the Republicans. And I was, I think, in flight to Vegas when this was announced. And I was like, well, that was fast. And so we are so excited to talk to Law Forward, the law firm that is heading up the lawsuit. The executive director of Law Forward, Nicole Safar, who I've been saying it wrong. It's Safar, not Safar. Nice to meet you. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here and to meet you. And, you know, I will just say that we've been waiting 12 years and a day before we filed.
So that is that what, how long did you all know? Was it basically as soon as Judge Janet, now Justice Janet, was elected? Did you guys know that it was going to be the day after she was sworn in, that this was the strategy from the get-go?
You know, we have been working on this at Law Forward since we were founded in 2020. And one of the core pieces of our mission was to be ready to do redistricting litigation after the census in 2021.
Yeah.
So really working on getting rid of these gerrymandered maps has just been, we've been working on it since the beginning. And after the Wisconsin Supreme Court gave us the decision in the Johnson v. WEC case in the spring of 2021, we kept working on it. And we've been doing the research and thinking about what a state constitutional claim could look like in Wisconsin. And, you know, we did what all good lawyers do. We did the research. We waited for the right opportunity with the right court. And then we got the voters who have been being harmed by this gerrymander, and we filed the case.
And here we go. And we're off to the races. And so I think for those of us who have been so passionate about this for a while and want fair maps so badly, everyone's very excited. But I think most of us are not lawyers. And so can you explain a little bit more of how the structure or the arguments being made in the case that you all have filed differs from redistricting cases in the past?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And, you know, I think a huge difference, at least from Law Forward's perspective in the case that we wanted to bring this time, is that this case is centered on the voters. We have 19 plaintiffs from across the state of Wisconsin who are in districts where their voices are not represented because of the gerrymander. And there are different reasons. We make different claims that apply to some, that don't apply to all of the plaintiffs. Different claims apply to different plaintiffs. But at the heart of the case, of this case, is we are asking the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, so the Wisconsin court system, to look at the Wisconsin Constitution and say that partisan gerrymanders violate our Constitution. So these are questions that our state court and our Wisconsin State Supreme Court hasn't answered yet.
Okay.
And that's really the main difference. The case that came out of after the census and the People's Maps Commission and the gerrymandered Republicans passing an even more
gerrymandered map.
that case didn't grapple really with the idea of partisan gerrymandering. It was there were other questions at stake. So that's a big difference in this case. And what we're essentially asking is, we're asking the court to look at these current maps and determine that the Wisconsin Constitution protects the voters, the petitioners in the 19 districts that we have, and all of the gerrymandered districts, but protects them from being treated differently just because of their political views.
So because before things have gone Is there any chance that this could raise again to the U.S. Supreme Court? Because I feel like in times past, even in this last time, because in the saga that was our current maps, originally our Wisconsin State Supreme Court, Brian Hagedorn, the swing vote, sided with the liberal justices and at first adopted Tony Evers maps, which were still gerrymandered, but because of the lease change, they were a little bit less. And then that kind of got swooped up by the U.S. Supreme Court, and it had to come back and be reversed and timeline, all of a sudden we have an even more gerrymandered Republican map. What is is there a chance that something like that can happen again, even though this is clearly a case that's been structured to look at the Wisconsin Constitution?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the question at the end of the day. This case is about the Wisconsin Constitution and whether or not it prohibits a partisan gerrymander. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court has the ultimate say on Wisconsin law and the Wisconsin Constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court doesn't get to say, oh, we have a different interpretation of the Wisconsin Constitution.
Okay.
That being said, like this idea that the extreme right-wing gerrymander gets broken up in this case is an existential threat to the other side. And, I don't put anything past them in how they are trying to prevent this and fight back. So I can't say that it is 100% impossible. Full claims could come up at some point during this litigation. We don't know, but it is really our intent to make sure that we put these questions of Wisconsin law in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are charged, really, who have the duty to interpret our Constitution.
We're talking to Nicole Safar, who is Law Forward's executive director, who in Law Forward is the law firm that is taking up the case for redistricting in Wisconsin. So part of the thing that I think is interesting, that I think, Jane, when we talked about it briefly yesterday, you didn't realize was happening. So in the case, the idea of respondents, again, not a lawyer. So the Wisconsin Elections Commission and the state senators representing odd numbered districts are named as respondents in the lawsuit. What does that mean? And what does that mean for potentially depending on the ruling?
Yeah, that's a really great question as well. So the first part of the question is the Wisconsin Election Committee or Commission. The Wisconsin Elections Commission is named as the defendant because they make the maps, right? They're the ones who administer our elections. They, take the paperwork for candidates who, when they get their nomination signatures, like they run the nuts and bolts of the system. So they are the ones who are charged with the duty of, enforcing who is in what district and then counting the votes in that district. The state senators who are in the odd numbered districts are senators who would not be up in the next election. So our whole argument to the court is that this is such an egregious injury. You need to fix it now. We need to have new maps that are not gerrymandered by the next election, which is the fall of 2024. And all of the assembly seats, that's fine. They're all up in 2024 and half the Senate seats are up. So all of those elected officials are essentially, their terms are up. They'll be out of office. There'll be an opportunity to get new people elected. But the odd numbered senators are not. So to make sure that we get fair maps in all of the districts, we need to have a mechanism that also kicks those odd numbered senators out of their seats. And then essentially it will be a special election for the odd numbered Senate seats, or at least that is what we are proposing the court should do, and which is why they were named. We have to get them out.
And is that unprecedented? Has that happened before, as far as any other, I don't know, other states, or just as far as being like, guess what? Everybody's up for re-election.
So I can't speak to other states and their partisan gerrymandering cases, because other they might have different
course.
terms. And there certainly have been other states that have been successful using their state constitutions to say a partisan gerrymander is illegal. But the legal procedure, I guess, that we used, it's called quo warranto, and it has been used. If you think someone is illegally in an office, you can make this claim against them. So that has happened before, but I don't think it has necessarily in the case of the gerrymander.
I'm just trying to think of, if this is successful, how many races there's going to be, how many, like, it's interesting to me as someone who just follows the news and has followed this so much, of the ramifications of what this can mean. And so we have 2 minutes, so I'm going to ask one more question, but when we have to go to a break soon. So if I have to cut you off, I'm sorry. But why? So this is so far just focused on state assembly, state senate. There was the decision made not to challenge at all the congressional maps. Why?
Yeah. So I think it just comes down to this idea that the way the partisan gerrymander has so damaged our state's ability for our state government to function, the way that the right-wing Republican gerrymander has consolidated its own power and stripped power from the executive, from agencies, from local governments, has so calcified and damaged our government that we just needed to stay laser focused on fixing that. And it's not to say that there aren't problems with congressional maps, and we might very well hear from other interested parties claims about that. But really, our focus is we have got to fix these state maps. We have got to get Wisconsin back on track to repair some of this harm that's been done.
All right, that is good to know. Laser focus is good. Focus on one thing. When we come back, Nicole Safar will still be here to talk about the redistricting lawsuit. So let's talk about some of the hypotheticals that could happen depending on the ruling. So stay with us. If you have any questions, feel free to text them in 844-967-2789. This is As Goes Wisconsin. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. We are talking to Law Forward's Nicole Safar on the redistricting lawsuit. Jane, did we have a text?
We do, and you can always check in 844-967-2789. Mark from the SAC is checking in. He says, given our Constitution requires maps to be both contiguous and compact, the maps we have currently are clearly unconstitutional. Any honest person would have to admit that the current maps are neither.
That is true. That's the word that I couldn't find yesterday. Was contiguous.
Mark is rarely wrong.
That is true. Mark nails it a lot.
Yep.
So I guess in that scenario, as far as the argument that these are unconstitutional, and what does the ideal timeline look like? Because obviously the turnaround time of filing this the day after there was a liberal majority, in the hopes that these maps can be changed and altered by, I mean, it has to be done by April, because people have to announce that they're running and know what their district is going to be for a fall election. And so and you filed directly with the Supreme Court. So unlike the abortion case that we expect to end up in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, that's making its way through the lower courts, y'all are bypassing that. And so what does this actually look like as far as an ideal timeline?
Yeah. So an ideal timeline, and what we've asked the court to do, is to think about this case in two phases. And in the first phase, to really grapple with the idea of whether or not the partisan gerrymander is unconstitutional, and to make a decision on the constitutionality of these maps. And then the second phase would be, okay, hopefully they've agreed with us and they say these are unconstitutional. And the second phase would be, what are we going to do about it? So what remedial action is the court going to take? And how is the court going to go about ensuring that we have fair maps that do not entrench a partisan gerrymander? So that's sort of part of the case that, is a little less clear of how the court's going to approach that. We don't know. And, we're going to ask them, our experts, and we're going to ask them to do it in a way that we think is most useful. Other parties might jump in and ask them to do it a different way. But we really think that they can get done with this liability phase and then the remedial phase before the middle of March, which is when the WEC and candidates who are going to be running for re-election in for election in 2024 would need to know who's in their district to start getting their signatures. So that's really our ideal timeline. That's what we're asking the court for. That's what we're going to be ready to do, the work on that timeline. And we've seen both our own state court do that in the Johnson case, which was filed in August, and they were able to move it through by April. But we've also seen other state courts move that quickly on cases like these. So there is a roadmap to doing this in a timely manner that ensures we do not have these gerrymandered districts a day longer than we've already had.
No, we've already had them. So I guess, because that I think is the part that's still murky, and it sounds like you can't, without a crystal ball, no one knows. But I think the idea of where does the new map, so say, like you said, our current map found to be ruled to be unconstitutional. Now what? Is it going back to the maps that were already introduced from our last, so the People's Maps Commission, the Governor Evers maps? Is it maps that are already drawn? Is it a brand new map? Do the courts draw the map? Is that kind of the thing that like no one really knows, and it will be solely up to the justices to decide?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. And the justices will figure out like what they need to make a decision. They could decide that they want to do it themselves and like figure out what the criteria is and figure out what the maps are. They could bring in what's called a special master, so an objective like expert to create maps and then present them to the court. They could ask the different parties to submit their own maps, which is what happened in the Johnson case. The court asked for everybody who wanted to submit their own maps. They could ask the legislature and the governor to go back to the drawing board and resubmit new maps. But that seems a little bit unlikely since the political process has already failed us in that space.
Yeah. Is there a chance? I mean, is there any chance that that criteria of least change, will that get thrown out immediately, or is that still something that has to stay because of the last case?
So our Constitution, our state Constitution, says a lot of things about what's required for legislative maps, and least changes is not one of them.
Yeah.
It's a standard that the court created in the last go around. And under these circumstances that we're in, we cannot reimpose that court created standard again. It's just not an appropriate standard to put into the mix when we're making this partisan gerrymander argument.
So hopefully, no. That means no. My final question then, because I think we said this yesterday, is there a chance that we end up with gerrymandered maps just the other way that are like heavily favored towards Democrats, and it's just the same for those of us who have been crying fair maps and do not want want a Democratic majority? Is there a chance that could happen, or is the things that are on the table, do you think that the likelihood, if we get new maps, they would actually be fair?
So at the heart of this case that we filed is the whole idea that a partisan gerrymander is unconstitutional. The partisan gerrymander that we have right now is a right-wing Republican gerrymander, but the heart of our legal argument is that you cannot have a partisan gerrymander under the Constitution. So, I think that, like I said, don't know what the maps are going to look like, what people are going to propose, what the justices are going to decide, but we don't want any partisan gerrymander.
Unfortunately, we have to let you go, but Nicole Safar, that was so great. I'm sorry that we asked the question too late, but we will keep following up with you. Thank you for your work, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. We'll come back anytime.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair. I'm so excited to have our next guest back because recently they hit a milestone of donating 1 million diapers to families in need. And so, of course, we are talking to Megan Johnson, who is the co-founder and executive director of Milwaukee Diaper Mission. Congratulations. That's a huge milestone. In 3 years, 1 million diapers.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Yeah, actually, correction.
Oh.
It's under 3 years.
That is even more impressive. And so we've had you on the show a couple times before, but for people who maybe are not aware of what Milwaukee Diaper Mission is, what do you guys do?
Yeah, so Milwaukee Diaper Mission is a basic needs bank. That means that we provide a reliable source of basic essentials like diapers and period supplies to families in need across Milwaukee. We were founded in September of 2020. And as you mentioned, since that day, we've distributed over 1 million diapers. It's actually 1,115,000 diapers as of today. To our community. We support about 2,700 children per month with diapering supplies and about 1,000 menstruators per month with period kits. So our impact is ever growing and changing, and we're really proud of what we've been able to accomplish so far.
Absolutely.
Megan, never having had children or hanging around with many people with children, how many diapers does a child go through on a daily basis on average?
Yeah, so there have been some studies, and the average number of diapers a child would go through in 1 month is about 80.
Wow.
It really depends on how old the baby is. A newborn baby is going to fly through 10 to 12 diapers in a 24-hour period. Kristen, pretty soon you're going to know what that's all about.
Yes.
Yeah, but as kids age up and age out of diapers, it's significantly less per day. But yeah, so we're supporting thousands of families with the diapering supplies they need every month.
And what is the typical cost of diapers? Because it's one thing as far as not necessarily always knowing how many you need, but also, I mean, is it something that inflation has only made more expensive, like so many other things?
Actually, yeah, I think I just told you the wrong thing. It's $80 per month on average for the cost of diapers. Yes, and then the number of diapers children need, it just really varies on their age. But yeah, so families are spending an average of about $80 a month on diapering supplies. Actually, it can be significantly more if children have any sort of allergy to the ingredients in some disposable diapers. Some disposable diapers have chlorine or other chemicals that are, an irritant to baby skin. So families are oftentimes forced to purchase the really high-end chemical-free diapers, which can cost even more. So yeah, it's a very big expense for families. And we know now that 1 in 2 families in the United States struggle to afford diapers. And those 1 in 2 families stretch across all socioeconomic backgrounds. So it's not just people living below the poverty line, folks who are, middle or upper class or even struggling to afford diapers.
Well, and that was, I mean, this is not just Milwaukee, right? This is something that is across the country as far as how many people are dealing with the cost of, there's the unexpected cost. We've talked so much about childcare, but even food and formula and diapers
and doctors
and the things that people don't necessarily think about when they're so excited to have their little baby. And so, why do you think it's been so successful in like you said, in less than 3 years? Do you think it's just something that resonates with enough people if they have the means to be able to donate and have had kids, and it's something that just is so tangible to know how important diapers are?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think when people hear about the issue of diaper need and they hear about families who are having to choose between food and diapers on a weekly basis, they hear about families who are rinsing and reusing a disposable diaper because they don't have any diapers left to be able to send their child to childcare that day. It's a really heartbreaking issue to wrap your head around. And whether you have children of your own or you don't, you can't argue with the fact that these are basic essentials that human beings have a right to and deserve. And so, people I think are really motivated by that. People are also motivated by our period program. Folks who don't have children or haven't spent a lot of time with kids, but maybe, want to support our efforts of our period program. I think that's something that a lot of people jump on board too. So we have seen no shortage of interest in volunteering with us and donating products to us, and we're really grateful for that. The community has been amazing.
And one of the other things that you guys focus on is cloth diapering, which we talked about it the first time, I think about a year ago when you first came on, we talked about it. I'm still interested, especially because what I remember from our first conversation about cloth diapering is that specifically, so long as it's breast milk, you can actually just throw the whole diaper in. Correct. And because the way the poop dissolves before they start eating solids and everything like that. And so let's rehash the arguments for why, as gross as it might sound, cloth diapering might be a good option. It is one of the reasons why you all teach it and focus on making it an easier option for people.
Well, and too, and I'm sorry to jump in here, but I had no idea that there were chlorine and things in disposable diapers that could be irritants like that. You would just think that it's a diaper.
Yeah. I mean, disposable diapers are crisp and white and clean, but we know they are full of chemicals to help the baby stay dry, to help absorbency. Not all brands, but a lot of brands. And so cloth diapers are a great option for families if they want to save some money, because you can save thousands of dollars on diapering supplies over the course of one child's diapering years if you use cloth diapers, or if you use partial cloth, partial disposable. For health reasons, some babies are, irritated by disposable diapers, so families opt to use cloth. Better for the environment. Some argue that, less waste is being created, although we are still using water and detergent to wash those diapers. So there are some arguments there. But cloth diapers have come a long way. They're much more modern. They're more convenient. They're a lot easier to use than the old-fashioned safety pin diapers. So I encourage anyone who was cloth diapered a long time ago or is interested in cloth diapering, go to our website, learn a little bit more about cloth. And we do offer virtual cloth diaper basics classes every other month, so the community can join those and learn a little bit more about cloth and see if it's the right fit for them.
And so for the families that Milwaukee Diaper Mission supports, is that a pretty viable option? Because I imagine, when I think about doing it as an option, Mike may or may not be on board with this. We have not talked about it yet. But we have a washer dryer in our house, so it becomes something that feels like, all right, well, throw it in there. I'm not lugging things like a dirty, soiled cloth diaper that sits in the hamper until I can take it to a laundromat. And so is that something that is considered, with the communities that you typically help, is a consideration? Or is it something that you feel like you can just wash it out in the sink and it's not that big of a deal? How do you get around that?
Yeah, so access to washing facilities is an issue. We recognize that not all families have a washer and dryer in their home, that they are having to utilize a laundromat, and that might not be the easiest or most convenient or cost-effective way to wash cloth diapers. We do offer a hand washing option. So there are cloth diapers that can be more easily hand washed in a sink or a bathtub and then hung up to dry. They dry very quickly. Those are more of the old-fashioned version of cloth diapers without all the bells and whistles, but it is an option. We believe very strongly in dignity of choice as an organization. So while we recognize that cloth is not for everyone, we still want to make sure it's an option for families so that they can choose what's best for themselves or for their baby. So offering a cloth option and giving that education and support around using cloth diapers is very important to us. And we really pride ourselves in the fact that we do that.
Absolutely. We're talking to Megan Johnson, who is the co-founder and executive director of Milwaukee Diaper Mission. And one of the things I'm very excited about, so we've talked before on the show, my husband and I are very social people. My husband's an event planner. He loves to throw a good party.
He knows lots of folks.
And I kind of like the idea of not the traditional baby shower, but co-ed where men come and, it's more of a get together. But I didn't want to throw something because we are in the process so far of being pregnant. I feel like it has been an exercise of gratitude and how lucky I've been, right? Because it's at each step of the way of knowing just kind of pregnancy in general, getting pregnant, staying pregnant, having a healthy pregnancy, not being throwing up the entire time, gestational diabetes, and then childcare and being able to afford diapers afterwards. It's we've been very, very lucky. And so we were kind of saying well, what could we do? Because we kind of want to see our friends before we go hibernate with this baby for the whole fall. We don't really need that much stuff. And so I'm so excited because on this Sunday, we are hosting a fundraiser for Milwaukee Diaper Mission at the Nomad, which is on Brady Street. It is a white party, so it's open to the public if you guys would like to come. But wear white and bring diapers. And so, what size diapers are you guys in need right now that people should be bringing?
First of all, thank you so much. This is an amazing idea for an event, and supporting our mission in this way is so impactful because we are currently desperately in need of a few items. Size 3 diapers. We're actually doing a 100-box challenge right now. So if people want to donate diapers, size 3 would be amazing. We're also desperately in need of baby wipes. I think sometimes people forget that you need wipes to change a diaper.
Yeah.
And so we sometimes kind of struggle to get enough wipes to be able to distribute monthly. So baby wipes would be great. Honestly, any of the larger sizes, 3, 4, 5, 6, babies are in those the longest. There are most requested sizes, but there are least donated sizes because they are a little bit pricier and you get less in a box. If you're buying a box of size 6 diapers, it might have 75 diapers in it, but you could get a box of newborn diapers with 300 diapers in it and it's less. So it's something that we really want to educate our supporters on, what our current needs are. And when we're able to partner with people to host drives like this and really get the word out about what we need currently, that's amazing. So thank you, Kristen.
Absolutely. Really what age is that? I should probably know this. What typical age is a size 6? Is that like a 2-year-old?
So yeah, it depends on the body shape and weight of the child. But I can tell you that my 3, almost 4-year-old is still in diapers at night and he wears a size 6 or 7. Okay. And has been since he was 2.5 or something. So kids are really in them for a long time, and until they start to potty train, you obviously still need diapers for overnight or naps or whatever. So
absolutely.
Well, I'm going diaper shopping after the show.
There you go.
I'm going to be there. I'm very excited.
So for people who are listening but who don't live in Milwaukee, maybe can't come on Sunday, I will post the link for anyone who wants more information for the event itself, but they can still donate money. Actually, my grandmother, I got my birthday check in the mail and a check for you guys that I'll have to hand you on Sunday. But as far as thanks, Grandma. Where can people donate now that they know about what you all do? You can mention Kristen and Mike in the notes, but where can people go if they want to donate but can't because they can't actually donate in person? A box of diapers.
Yeah, so we have a donate page on our website and we can turn dollars into a lot of diapers. So if folks go to the store like Walmart or Target and buy diapers, that's wonderful. However, if they make a monetary contribution to us, we can get about double the amount of diapers and help even more babies. So yeah, so monetary donations are key for us to be able to keep increasing our impact and support more families. We also have an Amazon wish list, and on there right now we have size 3 diapers and baby wipes. So it's a very targeted ask of if you're going to buy via Amazon, send them to us, to our warehouse. It's exactly what we need at any given time.
Perfect. So you will send me those links. I will put all of these links in our show notes today. I will have to say we did invite, unofficially, I don't know if they saw it. We did invite Mariah and Giannis to come to the event because I know they are big supporters of Milwaukee Diaper Mission. No guarantees if they'll actually be there on Sunday. I don't know. They might be a little busy, but
Kristen and Mike will be there.
Kristen and Mike will be there. But how is that partnership going? Because they're pregnant again too.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So actually, this whole relationship with them started because they wanted to host a diaper drive for us in honor of the birth of their second child. So this is a very similar type event. It was a little larger scale, maybe.
I would imagine theirs was a little bigger.
But yeah, they're wonderful. We're so grateful to be able to work with them. We do an annual diaper drive with them every year called the Big Give Back. We're doing it again this fall, where folks are going to be able to give dollars and diapers to support our work later this fall. And yeah, the Antetokounmpo family are amazing, and we're so lucky to have them with us.
Absolutely. All right. Megan Johnson is the co-founder and executive director of Milwaukee Diaper Mission. Will I see you Sunday?
Yes.
Great. I can't wait. All right. We're going to take one more break and come back after that and wrap up today's show. This is As Goes Wisconsin. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I'm Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair. And you just informed me, so that was the music we had for the last segment. And I didn't, you always have a reason. Usually you have a reason for what our bumper music is. And I didn't know what your reason was. And you just told me.
I would love to know if anybody who is listening can text me what the name of that song is. I'm curious. Because I can't be the only one who knows the name of that song. Did you
already know this song existed?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
What is it for, How did you know that?
Because I think my parents used to play Henry Mancini albums.
And I like it's very not Bond, but it's like 1960s
Very much so.
mod dancing type music.
I don't know that it was ever used in a film, but if anybody else can name that song, text it in or call. I'm just curious. 844-967-2789. And there is a very specific reason that I used this song.
I know.
Because you're having a baby. And your theme is elephants.
The nursery theme is elephants. And because that is by far and away my favorite animal for many reasons, because they are matriarchal, they are sensitive, they are caring, they're highly intelligent, they have complex emotions, and also because baby elephants are clumsy and don't know how big they are, which I feel like is a metaphor for me and my life sometimes. And so the nursery theme is baby elephants. And so it seems like we might have a caller of Jane knowing someone knows the name of that song.
Yes, Eric from Milwaukee is joining us, and we're getting all kinds of texts coming into. Good morning, Eric. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, the name of the movie is called the name of the song is Baby Elephant Walk. It's from a John Wayne movie.
It is from a John Wayne movie.
Oh, I had forgotten that.
There you go.
He's on it's not Daktari, but he was on a safari, and that was the music they played when they had the baby elephants.
There you go. That is good trivia. I would have never known that.
I had to text her when we were in the break saying, I picked this song especially for you.
Oh, that's so fun. Thanks for calling, Eric, and thanks for listening.
Have a good day.
Hey, thank you.
And thanks to all the texters, too. We got a bunch of them.
Did a bunch of people got it right?
Yeah, a bunch of people got it right.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So Baby Elephant Walk. Well, I guess maybe we'll have to add that to the theme of the nursery. Maybe she'll like that song. We'll play it for her.
I have some plans for what I'm not gonna just buy diapers for Sunday. I got some elephant shopping to do after the show.
There's a lot of elephants that are already there. We have this because Deb Bry, who will also be there Sunday for anyone who's ever wanted to meet Deb Bry.
I haven't seen Mom Bry in a while.
She is the decorator. I like what I like, but I hate shopping
and putting it together
because it's typically like I have other stuff to do beyond that. So it's a great match when she takes initiative on these things.
Well, and she loves it.
And she's good at it. And so the baby blanket is elephant. There is an elephant throw rug.
Okay.
That's going to go over the carpet.
What about lamps?
I don't know if there's a lamp yet.
Or nightlight.
I don't think there's a nightlight either.
Oh, I got ideas.
Oh, man. There is a couple pictures that are going to go on the wall. I already had some elephant figurines that I've collected over the years. So I'm sure those will be in there. But it might be a little much. It might be a little...
You need a lamp with a trunk is how you turn it on and off.
That is...
Oh... And then I'll bedazzle it and it'll be perfect.
Watch this kid just hate elephants because she's like, this was too much. He really overdid it.
Mom, enough.
Yeah, enough with the elephants. But yeah, so that is, we would love to have you if you're in the Milwaukee area. Nomad is a really fun, if you've never been to it, it's on Brady
cool.
Street. They have like Nomad Beach that they created during COVID. And so it's one of the little streets that they've now blocked off. And since it's the summer, it's supposed to be like 80 degrees on Sunday. So we'll just be outside enjoying the weather.
And there is a great empanada place on Brady Street.
There's also that.
So I don't know, does Nomad serve food?
They don't serve food. They were serving food because they've been hosting games and doing all the soccer, because it started as a soccer bar. It started as both soccer bar, but also I remember talking to the owner, Mike Idle, of the reason he started it decades ago now, was he loved the idea of hostels in other countries that you would just show up and, before social media, before cell phones, like when you showed up at a place in a country or a city and there was a place that you were told, like, this is where you go and this is where you'll figure out, you'll meet other people you can, you'll room with, you'll be able to party with, you can like find information. And it was like a hub for people who had come out of town, that it was just like the known spot that you could go as a traveler. And that was kind of the whole reason that he started Nomad is have that for Milwaukee. And he also loves soccer. And obviously soccer's always been such an international sport that it was like kind of a soccer bar, kind of a spot for people who are new to Milwaukee or were visiting Milwaukee could go hang out. And so it's a great bar. We're super excited to be having them let us have our party there.
And it's from when to when?
It's from 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
There's going to be a DJ there. Mike will probably be drinking Aperol spritzes all day, pretending that he's somewhere on the Mediterranean.
Okay. Whatever works for you, Mike.
Whatever works. I was like, are you going to wear like a linen suit? What are you wearing?
And he needs a hat too, if he's going to do that.
Like a
Like a fedora,
for
like sure.
a white straw fedora.
Oh yeah.
He look ridiculous in that. But yeah, so like I said, if you can make it, you are welcome to join us. If you cannot make it and would like to still donate to Milwaukee Diaper Mission, we would be very grateful. As I said, I will put their Amazon wish list up.
You can send a check.
You can send a check. I will put the link up for monetary donations to our show notes for today at asgoeswisconsin.com/listen. But like I said, I am very excited to be able to pay it forward because I've been very, knock on wood, I've been very incredibly lucky and fortunate through this whole being a first time mom so far, and like to be able to pay that forward and like help out other people.
It's wonderful.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Because we also don't need more stuff.
Except for an elephant lamp.
For an elephant lamp that the trunk is the switch that goes on and off.
So great.
All right. Well, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we got Greg Bach here. We also have comedian Taylor K. Phillips on her new Midwest Conversations book. So that'll be really fun. But thank you to everyone who was with us today. As always, thank you to Dan Schaefer, who's here on Tuesdays, Nicole Safar from Law Forward, Megan Johnson from Milwaukee Diaper Mission. Thank you to people who called and texted. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. to do it all over again. This has been As Goes Wisconsin.